This intro video is to give you a little bit of a brief prior to learning about this horrific trespass that has occurred against Kathy and Brent Manary. Underneath this video, you're going to see two other tabs for videos. One is a full-length video interview that I did with them on November the 7th, Thursday, and the other is an edited down version. Even though it's still an hour long, I advise at this time for you to watch that first, and everyone will know, especially law enforcement, when you watch this in the first 5 minutes, you're going to understand why you need to watch all of it. Okay, because we are not trying to sensationalize anything here. I am bringing the facts forward to you of the enormous wrong and harm that is occurring against this wonderful family. These are our fellow man and woman here that are under attack from people that are supposed to be operating a service corporation called Ontario. So when you learn of all the various trespasses that have occurred and are still occurring to this date, this is going to allow everybody to truly understand why I stepped in to do what I've done, why it is important that all of us get this right, and why, more importantly, all of law enforcement looking at this, you people have got to step up. You've got to contact us. You've got to be part of the solution here. You've got to address this wrong and harm. We don't need you to investigate anything. The investigation work is all done. We, the people, simply require what is our right, access to that public courthouse. That's it. No man or woman there at that courthouse wearing a robe, working in the front end, no one has the right to deny any man or woman access to move a claim in court to seek the administration of justice. Remember that. The only way that a man or woman in these courthouses can prevent us from accessing them is two things have to be truth. Number one, I or Brent or Kathy or any other man or this woman, we are property of these people that wear the robes or any of these agents and officers that work in these courthouses. That's the first fact. So we're not property. The second thing that must be in place if we're not property is there must be a contract where they can administrate property without right. Specifically, Brent's property is his claim in his case that he's filed. Okay? We have people taking his property, and they have caused even further and additional wrong and harm now, because after we did this interview on the Thursday, Brent and Kathy had not left more than 5 minutes, and then I got a call and they returned back to the house. At that time, he had just received an email. His phone had been off while we were shooting the video, but when he turned it back on and he got back out to his car, he had got an email from Linda Templeton. This is the woman out in Dundas who's acting as a regional justice, who decided to take this man's property, walk all over it, trespass, and throw it out of the court system. And as I stated already in prior communications, just so we hammer these facts home, Linda worked in her career, look it up, she worked for many years for the Attorney General's office. Linda works closely with Attorney General agents and officers all day long, including Doug, who she has probably regular communications with. And if not, her office, her service corporation is tied directly to the Attorney General's office. So it's a huge conflict of interest. We have verified evidence, proof, a claim. We're not making a complaint, some sissy complaint that the legal society does. No, this is a claim. A claim trumps a complaint. We've made a claim that these people have caused enormous wrong and harm. And we've backed it up with all the evidence. And we've laid that at a public courthouse to move that court and claim to seek the administration of justice. And then we find out that this woman with another gentleman, Scott Campbell, had taken this property of Brent's, and now they have attempted to throw it out of the courthouse, to say that it is not following under the rules of civil procedure. Now this woman, Linda Templeton, she received this the week prior. October the 28th is when a letter was dated that came from a gentleman by the name of Gary, as you're going to hear about here. And he's the man who Doug chose to act as his attorney to represent him in these matters. Well, guess what? This man, Gary, he's got no standing in this. We don't know who Gary is, just like we don't know who Linda is or Scott is. None of these people have standing in this man's case. That's his property. So what we have is a man outside of his case that's coming in and interfering with it. And that's called a trespass on the case. So he wrote to the registrar, that's the court clerk at the St. Thomas Courthouse, on October the 28th. Now, because of their systems, he probably just emailed it to them. They got it that day or faxed it. And he's requesting them to remove this file from the courthouse because it doesn't fall under the rules of civil procedure. Okay? He wrote that letter on October the 28th. Brent and Kathy did not receive this letter until the evening of November the 5th, I believe it was. So immediately on the 6th, I am writing a communication to address this with the registrar. What you're going to see is in these files. What you do is you contact the registrar because there's a man that's interfering with your case, your property, and you require to remove his paperwork and do not allow him to trespass on the case. Well, when we had sent that off, unbeknownst to us, we learned, unfortunately, the next day that Brent's property, his claim in that, was taken out of that courthouse the week before when they got that letter from Gary. And it got sent off to London, another courthouse, 2 hours away. Maybe not 2 hours away, an hour or so away, I would imagine. And this woman, Linda, put upon herself to decide that this case is vexatious. It has no standing. It has no merit to it whatsoever. This woman, again, who I've just explained, who has worked for the Attorney General's office for all these years prior and has these wonderful, cozy little relationships. Again, is she a bar member? Oh, you better believe it. Is Dougie Boy a bar member? Oh, you better believe it. They're all bar members, people, and they're operating like rats in our public courthouses. And it's time that they were brought out into the light and shown exactly what they're doing. Now, I've said on the record before, and I'll say it here again. It was one thing if the case file was taken from the public courthouse because they weren't quite sure what to do with it. And within our filing, as you're going to see on the first page, it's requiring that whoever the justice or the magistrate is assigned to this case is competent in common law. So I thought, well, maybe they've taken it there and she's going to look at this and she's going to assign a magistrate, a man or a woman to this case that's competent in common law. No, that's not what they were doing. Their entire intention was to throw this out. And as you'll see all the gibberish that she wrote back in her response, quoting all these rules, civil rules of regulation, and going through all these notices, the woman doesn't even know what the word barratry means. She thought it was a spelling mistake. Look at her, look what she wrote. She says, I think he meant to say battery. You know, I suggest, Linda, if you're looking at this, you might want to look up what the word barratry means, because that's exactly what you and your society are doing to this man. And you're in big trouble for it if you don't correct it immediately. So what you're also going to see is that she had a week to prepare this response that Kathy and Brent just received the night after they left here from shooting the video. The next day, I stepped on it and I immediately got a communication off a little after 3 o'clock the next day with the notices. Around 3 o'clock, they faxed it off to their attention, basically requiring the restoration of Brent's property back to the St. Thomas Courthouse. And we also require them in writing that's verifiable, their findings of facts and conclusions in law, where this woman, Linda, or this other man, Scott, where they can administrate property without right. Neither of these people have any standing, as we've already discussed in this case. And look at what they're doing to this man. For her to write that it's vexatious and it has no merit and basically tearing apart his claim in a legal capacity, she has no business doing that. And she has no right to do that. Why? Because Linda, just like every other man and woman that wears a robe, you have duties and obligations. That's all you got because you're working for a service corporation. When we the people enter our public courthouse, that's our public courthouse, not your little private play zone. So you're all in a lot of trouble, all of you people that have done this to Brent. And this was immediately sent to the RCMP as well. My contact there, Kathy McCrory, who has so far been very disappointed. I've been very disappointed in her reaction to all of this. She has simply sent it off to intake in Milton for them to look at this file a couple of weeks ago. Well, now I followed up with her on the Friday with the communication that went out to Linda and also to Scott and also to the court registrar, which is in this underneath this file in a tab. So that's where we're at right now currently with this case file. And that is why we require all levels of law enforcement to wake up and to come to assist this man and woman. They require your help. We require assistance. We require those of you. Where are you people that have all this courage to protect and serve? Because we're not seeing it. And our world hasn't seen it for a long time, especially in this country. Well, you better all get off your ass and do something here, because we the people depend on you. We require you because we're paying you for these good faith services, just like the service corporations, these people that are a member of the bar, are being paid. They're being paid to provide good faith services at our public courthouses. And they're trespassing left and right all over the people, preventing them and obstructing them from accessing to seek the administration of justice. And this is where we're at right now in this country, and this is going to change. It's going to stop.